Here we go. I'm gonna minimize this for now. I might just have to take the whole screen when I open it.
Let me know when we're live and I'll...
No, it's already started.
Oh, we're... Hello, everybody, and welcome back to podcast number...
Oh, crap, I didn't put the 9.
9.
9!
Yes, number 9 is what we were on. I had to think about that. Today, as you can see by the board behind us with the red string connecting all the little itty-bitty variables, is we are going to be talking about theories, and especially conspiracy ones, specifically based around... I think we're gonna go for mostly like animation and stuff. But
Make sure everything's okay.
today it is me, Tyler, and John here at the table again. Huh?
Today, we're always here.
Well, it's on every once in a while we have the extra person, right?
I think we only have one guest.
Oh,
You almost didn't have me if I didn't renegotiate my contract for the show.
yep. Renegotiate. He now makes 2% instead of 1% of the earnings.
Thanks, Union.
Don't say that word.
No, yeah,
You're
right,
gonna get
I
us all taken out.
It's louder today.
It is.
Yeah, I turned up the gain.
Oh, nice.
That's
I don't
awesome.
know if that's good or bad. We're gonna
I
find
think
out.
it's good because I don't have to turn up all the way.
But today we're going to be talking about all kinds of theories and conspiracy theories from, I think we got a couple real life ones we want to talk about. I know I have some video game ones, and we're going to be bringing in a bunch of cartoon and animation ones. I have 3 lined up, like, on my phone that I can talk about and go through. So, do you guys want to start, or do you just want me to open up?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'll start with this one's kind of like a set of theories, but it's a couple Pokemon theories I got. Some of what you may have heard, like, have you guys heard of that Ash actually died in the first Pokemon movie? Have you heard that one
I think I've
before?
heard that.
When Mew and Mewtwo shot that whatever you want to call it, whenever they used their moves and they clashed and Ash was in the middle, the theory is that he actually died from that, and when the Pokemon all cried and he resurrected, in quotes, he didn't actually come back to life. What you're seeing after the first season and first movie, every season and movie after that is supposed to be him in purgatory. That's why for the longest time he could never win a Pokemon League, because that was his only dream and his unfinished business. However, unfortunately, the fact that he won a league finally, that theory's finally been proven false.
To be fair, and completely unrelated to that statement, the league that he won is probably my favorite season of Pokemon I've ever watched.
Though it has the worst animation, in my opinion. Or Ash design, at least.
Yeah, the animation's a bit quirky and whatever, but honestly, the writing and everything in that, the Alola series, when they were in Alola,
I have seen bits of the writing
so
and everything.
good. You
My,
ever had a children's TV show make you cry?
the
show-
Kalos League.
That show made me cry.
Wait, was it X and Y? Is that Kalos? Yeah, the stuff with Kalos, when it took on a more like serious approach to the design and everything.
There's-
that one did a little bit.
There's an episode in the Alola series one, I forget what season it's in, where one of the characters who lost her mom very young, you find out how she got her first Pokemon. It was because of her mom. And because of the power of one of the legendary Pokemons of Alola, she gets to see her mom one last time, and it's like fucking it's the fucking cutest shit I've ever seen.
While we're on with Pokemon, I have 2 more coming from Pokemon. Pretty sure, I know Tyler, you definitely are. John, I'm not sure about you. Are you familiar with the Gengar Clefable theory?
No, sir.
That Gengar is the spirit of a Clefable.
Yep. So, Gengar is supposedly a dead Clefable. Brought back to life as a ghost, hence why he's a ghost type.
I have a problem with that. For the following theory that the Ghastly evolution line is Ghastly stepping out of the Shadow Realm.
Yep. And that was a big thing I looked at with it. I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Evolution is not concurrent with a Pokemon species. Because if you can see other Pokemon through the anime series and even the manga and everything, where when Pokemon get older, they don't evolve. Evolution has nothing to do with the Pokemon tree, because you'll see just bigger variants and littler variants of the same Pokemon. Evolution is a separate thing. Like it has nothing to do with its actual line, like changing and everything, which always seemed weird to me because sometimes you see it as evolution has to happen. It has to be based in that line, which is what I thought. But there's certain Pokemon and stuff you see where it's just like the Tauros, if I remember right. It's just bigger Tauros and littler Tauros. But Tauros doesn't have an evolution. This has also happened with what was it? Fucking, I'm struggling. It had her.
Well, Pokemon vary in size when you catch them in Nexus too, so that's natural.
No. Yeah, this is where Pokemon continuity gets wrong because I can't think of the Pokemon off the top of my head. But there's a couple other variants that have evolutions, but instead of showing their evolution as the parent, it's just a bigger version of the first form.
Yeah, because evolution is not necessarily based on, like you said, on age. It's based on ability and
Exactly.
training. Unless you're the Bulbasaur, who have to go to a specific location to
Right.
and they do that as a herd.
However, if you think about certain things like that, based on that logic, a final form such as Gengar, Charizard, so on and so forth, doesn't necessarily have to come from that evolution line. It can come from other points.
I don't know if I know what you mean.
Like, the easiest one to talk about is birth. A third form, like Charizard, could give birth to another Charizard.
No, it can't.
It can't.
It cannot. In every Pokemon game where you involving breeding, if you breed a tier, like a third evolution, second evolution,
Right.
whatever you want to call it, with it creates a
Okay.
first form of that Pokemon.
This is why I said Pokemon logic gets weird. Because the games and the anime do not connect in any regard, and it makes me hate it. Because if you go based on anime logic, a third form can just give birth to a third form. But based on the game, you can't have that happen.
Yeah, I'm going to follow the game when it comes to like biology.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that's wrong.
Okay. I will still say the theory, though, even though it's more or less proven false. But it's that a dead Clefable becomes a dead Clefable becomes a Gengar, and the whole thing connecting it was they have the same ears, the same like short stubby arms and legs, the same big round body structure. Spiky bits. The only difference was Clefairy's like big puffy tail, more or less traded out for back spikes. But other than that, their features are similar.
The theory I've heard that bouncing up the Ghastly line is slowly it's slowly moving into reality from like the ghost world.
Oh,
or something
yeah,
like that. So
I
like
think I've heard
the
that
first
one.
form of Ghastly is just the face, and so it's like a hole into this other realm, and then the second form, if you notice, he's like pulled back. So like all like facial features from like back of him seems like it's coming through something.
Right.
And then the Gengar form is like him finally coming all the way through.
I could see that. There's another one I heard with Ghastly and everything, and it actually is about Voltorb. Voltorb and not Ghastly but Haunter have the same eyes.
Yeah.
The exact same eyes. As well as Electrode and Ghastly have the same eyes. You just can't really. It's harder to see because of Electrode's white.
Racist.
Blame Pokemon.
Actual racist.
But
Pokemon.
the theory is that either a Ghastly or Haunter, depending whether you're talking about Electrode or Voltorb, a Pokeball was possessed by one of the Gengar line, and the spirit became unable to get out of the Pokeball, so it just possessed it and took on a form in it, hence creating Voltorb and Electrode.
That's feasible, except Voltorb and Electrode are massive.
Yes.
So that's a big glaring hole in that theory.
Yes. Yeah, no. I need to look into that one a bit more, because I think there was a guy that explained that, but I never, got the explanation. You know what I mean? But those are the Pokemon ones I have and wanted to talk about.
There's one involving the Ghost Girl from, I think, Gen 5, the Unova region. I think it's Unova. Do you know who the Ghost Girl is? She's appeared in several Pokemon titles.
Oh, are you talking about the girl that shows up in the background but nobody actually refers to her or anything, and every once in a while she just disappears?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about, because I remember that in think it was whatever anime had red in it that happened.
But they're in the games. The theory is that so you come across a character who it's a dad who's trying to like wake his daughter up, but can't because she's trapped in this nightmare realm because of Darkrai.
Oh,
and it slowly whittles her life force away so that she dies in real life and rips her spirit from her body, and now she's forced to wander around looking for a way back to where she's trying to go.
Interesting. I like that one.
What's that?
The one Tyler was
The
just
Ghost Girl.
I'm
trying to think.
But I think that's it that I have.
I don't think I have any other Pokemon ones.
Humans are also Pokemon?
No. There's the Anazoro.
Here's one for you. Did you know that Mr. Mime is notorious for like taking over the role of a human in a family dynamic? So the theory is that Ash's mom is smashing with Mr. Mime.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
There was another one up here. Let me put this on the screen.
Wobbuffet is just a tail.
Yeah, Wobbuffet's the
little
tail.
black tail
Yeah.
is just the Wobbuffet. The actual blue thing isn't him.
The anime disproves that though, and so does the games though, because the mouth on the front of it moves.
Giovanni is Ash's real father. I think
I have
actually
heard that
seen
one as well.
Jesse and James always yada yada. That's just his backstory. Where else? Actually keeping tabs on his young son by sending his most harmless yet most persistent friends to keep an eye on him. This would explain why Team Rocket treats Pikachu so well whenever they do catch him, and why in more than 2 decades... John, can you scroll down a little bit? They've never come close to physically hurting Ash despite the group's reputation for inflicting harm on both people and Pokemon. Oh, they never do attack Ash, do they? Like, directly, at least.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Because I know they've netted people before, like they use the net gun on people, but...
Well, it's a kid show, so they're not going to show you any form of
Well,
violence.
yeah, but... They never, like, have a Pokemon attack them or anything.
There's your Ash is dead.
Yeah, Ash is dead theory. I don't know if that's concurrent with the way I was describing it, because there's a couple different ones. There's ones that say the first time Pikachu shocked him, killed him.
Ditto is a failed Mew clone.
Yes, I've heard this one. I really like this one. So, Ditto has every Pokemon's DNA. The theory with Ditto is that in the process of humans trying to make Mewtwo, Ditto were the failed clones, the failed attempts at making Mew. Mewtwo was just the successful one. That's why Ditto has every Pokemon's genes and can turn into any of them like Mew could.
That makes sense.
Ditto was made to breed Pokemon close to extinction.
I could also see that too.
Considering that they were basically the paternal father figures of every Pokemon in these games.
They could bring back nearly
It's
any
way
Pokemon.
easier to get shiny Pokemon if you breed with a Ditto than it is with 2 of the same pairs. Mimikyu!
Or dead Pikachu.
That says Pichu, sir.
Pichu. My bad.
Mimikyu's one of my favorite
I don't
Pokemon
think I've
ever.
ever seen that one.
It's from the Sun and Moon series.
I've heard about the Pokemon War. There's
Yeah.
Lieutenant Sarge is from
Surge.
it.
I know it.
Surge, my
I
bad.
don't remember that.
Lieutenant Sarge.
Lieutenant Sarge. Lieutenant Sergeant, you know.
That was a really neat touch. I don't know if you guys saw Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, I've seen
Mhm.
That was a really neat touch.
What was? What are you talking about?
That Ryan Reynolds turned out to be his dad trapped in a Pikachu.
that. People eat Pokemon.
Well, we knew that.
Have they?
We know that.
Pokemon eat Pokemon.
We know that too.
Well, yeah, that's
Well, yeah, it's-
that's the circle of life. Oh, okay. I've heard 2 theories with him.
Cubone theories drive me nuts.
Yeah, I've seen one that he's a baby Kangaskhan. I've also seen another one that he's a Charmander whose pilot light went out, and that he's wearing the skull of a dead Charizard, his mother.
The thing that doesn't make sense about any of that is it focuses on Cubone as a singular Pokemon when there is clearly
when it's clearly
a breeding
a race.
population of them.
Let's see.
So if it
What's,
was like a pseudo legendary that you can only get in like a trade, like Farfetch'd in the 1st games, like you can only get him in a trade, that would make more sense to me. But the fact that Cubone
He's so
has
common.
a breeding population like in all of the games.
I feel like the baby Kangaskhan theory is a little more believable then, because that makes sense. I mean, because if you look at it, Pokemon's notorious for just not connecting Pokemon, like Buffalo and Tauros, who should obviously be an evolutionary line, but aren't.
Dark Pokemon training.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. So you get Gengar.
What's the last one?
Oh, I've seen that.
Oh, I have
That's
not.
proven. That one's not even a theory. That's proven, isn't it? Ain't that the
Really?
Pokédex entry?
I think so.
Huh.
See, when a lost child dies, their soul enters the woods, and that comes from it.
That's a shiny Phantom.
Huh.
Pretty colors. I
So-
actually like those colors.
Well, its evolved form Trevenant looks like
Big tree.
Well, yeah, but the shiny version looks like the weirwood trees from Game of Thrones. They're white and red.
Anything else?
Not for Pokemon.
Yeah, for Pokemon, I think I'm done. I do wish
Solid
to.
fingers.
I guess from here I'll start jumping on my
Look at
two
that.
video game ones. So the first one I talked with you yesterday about is the Donkey Kong theory. So everybody completely agrees that there are at least two Donkey Kongs.
Yeah.
The original one, which who grew up to become Cranky Kong, and the current DK.
Okay.
A lot of people think the current DK is DK Jr., Cranky Kong's son. I am here to prove that wrong. Thank you, Gnoggin, for these theories like 8 years ago. So, there was a war in the Donkey Kong universe called the Great Banana War. The theory goes, I think this is the actual wiki page that Gnoggin showed.
Oh, get out of here.
So the theory is that Cranky Kong, the original DK, came to New York, did all that stuff with the Mario games where Mario was climbing the tower. That's Cranky Kong when he was at his prime as Donkey Kong. All that ended. He gave birth to DK Jr., Donkey Kong Jr. Now, this is where it gets weird. Donkey Kong Jr. has only ever been depicted as a kid. You never see him as a grown-up when you look him up. So a lot of people just assume the current Donkey Kong is Jr. The theory goes that Donkey Kong Jr. or Donkey Kong the Second, you never see him grow up because he went off to fight in the Great Banana Wars and either died or got kidnapped and became a POW. Because in Mario, what was it? There's a Mario game. It's a turn-based fighter Mario, but some of the enemies
Super Mario RPG.
is it Super Mario RPG? Okay, you fight POW Kongs, like you fight Kongs that are chained and shackled and being held and forced to fight by that kingdom.
Huh.
The theory is that Donkey Kong Jr. was imprisoned and became one of these POWs, and Mario ended up fighting and killing him while he was a POW. The DK we know is Junior's son, who DK Jr. had to leave with his mother and everything, who eventually became to grow up and become the DK we know, who is DK the Third. The reason you never see the father as an adult is because he was off fighting in this Great Banana War and either died during it or became a POW and died to Mario.
I feel like I need red string and a poster board.
Yeah, there is more to this. I'm saying this super simplistic because time is a thing, but there's only ever been one picture out that is supposedly DK Jr. as an adult, and it's a Kong in a military helmet. But they never give him a name. Like, me and John looked at the picture yesterday. Like, you see him, they don't have a name for him, he's just there. And a lot of times when you look up DK Jr. now, he pops up with it. But, yeah, John's open dad now.
Oh, it's an arcade game.
Yep, so the only times you see him are in versions that are with continuity errors. So you see him in like Mario Tennis, one of the Mario Karts. They're the only times you really see him, or like the arcade games. Other than that, you don't ever see him like in an official Donkey Kong game. Is the adult version in here?
I think we looked this up before and it came up.
Yeah, we looked it up yesterday, and I know we saw it because I pointed it out to you. Hopefully this works. Yes, that.
That weird misshapen thing.
That is theorized to be Donkey Kong Jr. whenever he went to war. That is the only picture shown of him. It is also the only picture, as far as I know right now, that isn't. It doesn't have an official name with it, unless they recently changed it, and that's why it says Donkey Kong Jr. Because there's also not just him, but there's also a one of K. Rool's army, a crocodile, a white crocodile. You see him as a ghost in one of the Donkey Kong games. Other than that, you never hear or see anything of him. But on the DK website, alongside Donkey Kong Jr. as an adult, there's a picture of a white alligator in full naval military outfit attire that you never see in the games. Like, he doesn't exist like DK Jr. That's theorized to be who he was fighting against. And that's why you never hear anything of him, but you see his ghost. Yep. Yep, I found it very interesting. Because if I remember right, I believe Funky Kong references him, like, once. Because Funky Kong fought in the war with him. That's why he has access to planes and the like that.
Explain why Funky Kong became a hippie, too.
Yep.
That would make sense if that was the subtext of that, because
Well, it's already proven that there
it
was
came out, Donkey Kong 64 came out, the 90s?
that was the first official Donkey Kong game, yeah.
Yeah, so, games like that came out in the 90s, which, the Vietnam War was fresh at that point, too, so,
Well, it's already proven because it's based on a real war that happened during that, and it was the it was based on the Banana Wars in Galapagos Islands, I think it was.
Galapagos?
I think it was in the Galapagos Islands, but it's based on the real Banana Wars that took place. And part of what you're seeing with it to prove all that is all the crashed airplanes and stuff like that. Something that the Kongs or K. Rool's army, none of them have access to it except from these abandoned bases and stuff. Or the reason you know that K. Rool's not making it or anything either is why wouldn't all of his troops, like the alligators and crocodiles and everything, why wouldn't they all be in full attire?
Right.
Why do some of them only have belts, some only have helmets? It would make sense if they were making it to make it for everybody, not for each person to only have specific stuff.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're finding leftover remnants from this war and everything and using it to attire themselves. That's why obviously your bigger guys, like the giant fat crocodiles, they can't find stuff that would fit them because it wouldn't make sense for the stuff to be their size. That's why they only have helmets.
Interesting.
Yep. It's one of my favorites. On to the one I wanted to talk about. I'm excited for this one. This is my Punch-Out theory. Also from Gnoggin. This is one of my favorite videos I've ever seen. Little Mac from Punch-Out. We all are familiar. He is not actually boxing. He's not actually fighting. It is all in his head. So this isn't to say he's not a boxer. He might box and everything. All the 13 fights you do, 13 people you fight, are not his actual matches you're fighting. Each one is either a mental disorder or something he's dealing with in real life that he is trying to overcome. And Doc is his therapist. Okay. So, you can directly link each of his opponents to something that would make sense for him to deal with. Glass Joe. Little Mac is physically smaller than every other person he fights. Glass Joe is his representation of that. He's scared of being weaker, more frail, more vulnerable, smaller than all of his other competition. That's what Glass Joe represents. His, I can't think of the word for it, but him not being okay with his stature and everything, and him overcoming that to really become a boxer.
His insecurities.
Yep, his insecurities. Some of them I am a little sketchy on. I can't remember all of them, but King Hippo, eating disorder, bulimia specifically. Little Mac is trying to bulk up to get to the next circuit because he needs to be stronger. In doing so, he becomes bulimic, eats too much, and he has to deal with that and learn that that's what the King Hippo fight is.
That's not what bulimia is, though.
Overeating. Is not bulimia?
No, bulimia is when you binge eat and then throw it all up.
Yeah.
Which one is just binge eat?
Binge eating.
Okay,
I don't know.
well.
I wasn't aware there's a word for it. But
Okay,
bulimia is the one where you'll eat like a 23-course meal and then you just throw it all up.
I didn't know bulimia made you throw up. I thought that was...
No, you make yourself throw up.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But
It's where the pulling the trigger.
Okay, fair enough. Well, King Hippo is like overeating and all that,
Yeah.
and Lil Mac trying to deal with that to get used to bulking up. This way, when he goes up to the next weight class and everything, he overcomes that and actually bulks up and doesn't just turn into King Hippo. Each and every person represents something. Not all of them are disorders like that. Some of them, like Super Macho Man, the famous Hollywood star and everything, that's Mac learning to deal with the new fame he's getting from getting in the higher circuits and everything, from getting close to this belt challenge. That's him learning to deal with the fame and all these people trying to come at him. So some of them are like that. One of them is Aaron Ryan, the Irish guy from the beginning of the Third Circuit. That's alcoholism. Mac, after going through all these fights and getting to these higher circuits and everything, becomes an alcoholic. And his fight with Aaron Ryan is him overcoming that alcohol addiction and trying to get over it. And you can relate all 13 of his opponents to something.
What about Mike Tyson?
You mean Mr. Sandman?
Yes.
It was Mike Tyson in the original, but he goes by Mr. Sandman now because I think Mike Tyson got mad.
Well, they made it Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, didn't they?
Yeah, the original one. The remake, he's called Mr. Sandman because I'm pretty sure Mike Tyson got mad.
Well, he was probably mad that his first game was fucking hard as shit, so...
Dude. But, I can't remember what his is.
I believe it.
But yeah.
That's
why I said some of them I can't remember all of it. Like Von Kaiser, he's the one that's like strict obedient German. So I can't remember what all of them are, but yeah, you can look at all 13 of them and they all relate to something. I would have to rewatch the video to tell you all of them now. But that's one of my favorite ones because it makes the most sense. And especially Doc being the therapist, because when you see Doc training him and helping him get better and everything, the way he talks and acts doesn't seem very... Like, I give it the benefit of the doubt because obviously it's a game and everything, but it's not very trainer-like. You know what I mean? Like, he's always hitting him more with things like, you got this, you're strong, you just gotta believe in yourself, you gotta put your all in. He's saying things like that. He's not saying, like, actual trainer talk. Like, he's not teaching him how to, like, get stronger or how to fight or anything like that. He's mostly just doing these encouraging words and everything. And when he talks about beating opponents, he's just saying about him overcoming it and everything. He's not necessarily talking about him fighting, hence him being a therapist. Plus, Doc being a coach just, you know.
Have you heard the theory that Isaac Clarke, none of the events in Dead Space actually happened? So you know how throughout the story of Dead Space, the marker is fucking with him the entire time. There's a theory that Dead Space 2 is the actual beginning of the series and that everything in the first one was imagined.
Huh.
Oh.
I don't know the intricacies of that theory, but I remember hearing about that, and for some reason hearing that made me think of it.
That's not good.
Interesting.
That's all I got, by the way.
Word.
I don't really remember the intro of Dead Space 2.
He's in the insane asylum.
I was about to say, I only remember the first one.
He was being tortured. So it's either that he was being everything in Dead Space 1 was imagined because of the marker, or it was the government trying to reprogram him to forget about it. I can't remember specifically. I'm gonna pull it up. I don't want to get it wrong and make all the viewers sad.
All of 2 viewers I think we had.
Oh, that's a pain on
Dead Space Panthers.
Also, we aren't probably going to have time to talk about it and everything. But just while we're looking this stuff up, to all the viewers, shout out to Alex Mail. Go check him out. Some of the best SpongeBob theories I've ever seen from somebody.
Dead Space Necromorphs are a disease.
They're also absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I should show all this.
Oh my.
Oh wait, is that all?
Is that it?
10. Wait, where's not?
Wait, is there a next button?
Oh, am I
I think there
scrolling?
was a next button. There's a little blue button. What was that? Scroll down a little more.
The Guardians. Oh wait, this is different
Destiny.
games. I'm not trying to.
Bloodborne is set after Dark Souls. I thought it was a prequel.
I forget where
That's not what
I
I wanted.
heard this theory from.
That is not what I was trying to find. Spoilers.
Oh. There's one about Batman that he's actually insane and in a mental asylum,
No.
and Harley Quinn is actually just Harley Quinzel, his therapist, who he dubbed Harley Quinn after the Harley Quinn, and Joker, if I remember right, is actually his main like doctor, whose name is Joe Kerr, like the name Joe, and his last name is Kerr.
That's interesting.
Steve Kerr's brother.
Yep. There's more to that, but that's pretty.
I can't remember where I heard this Dead Space theory before, but like I remember it being that like Dead Space 2 was the real start of the Dead Space series, and then Isaac imagined Dead Space 1. My roommate just finished Dead Space 1 after his like 300th playthrough of Dead Space 2. He was like, "I'm gonna go play 1 now. I've never finished it." He's got like 12,000 hours or something like in Dead Space 2. It's
Good
ridiculous.
God.
He's like New Game Plus it like 9 or 10 times. To the point where when I watched him play through Dead Space 2, like his whatever time it was, he was just basically walking through everything and just. There does come. And that's the one thing about New Game Plus that's both cool and also, I would assume, kind of a bummer. Is like when you go to the next playthrough, there comes a certain point where like you're gonna get everything, but like nothing's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah, everything is just easier now. I don't think I've ever played a New Game Plus. Like, I just never. I wanted to do it for the Batman games, but then I remember beating the Batman Arkham games, and I was just like, I don't need to. I think that's mostly because I saw New Game Plus just said gets harder, and I'm like, but why?
So there's in the realm of, let me pose this to you guys. Do you and either of you play any like live service games that constantly update over time? Fortnite is an example.
No.
Not to
So,
my knowledge.
I have recently been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves, right? And there's a good and a bad way to do like story drops and things. Sea of Thieves drops these hints and like tiny things all over the place for things that'll show up 6 to 18 months later. So the big one, I'm trying to losing it because my brain doesn't work half the time. There is a faction in the game called the Reaper's Bones. They're the PvP faction. When they were introduced, things that you were finding was like you would go to the island that their eventual hideout would be set up on, and there would be music that would play if you stood in a certain spot. This is happening again on the same island with different music. So like everybody's wondering what the fuck is going to happen to Reaper's hideout now, because in the game, players banded together to save an outpost, which is where you sell all your stuff. It's like one of the bases in the map. They're not safe by any measure. You can still get sunk there, but like that's where you do all your trading and whatever. It just got recently fortified into like a fortress. So in doing so, the developers revealed that it was Reapers versus Athena's Fortune. Good guys versus bad. So the Reapers are the bad faction. Had the Reapers won that bout to save the save the outpost or sink it, that would have happened. The fortification would have happened and become a Reaper outpost. So now the theory is because they didn't get it, they're going to fortify their original outpost and build like a whole ass fucking fort, because this season is all about PvP, literally between Reaper's Bones and Athena's Fortune.
So it's going to turn into like a big PvP island versus island battle.
Essentially, they're going to become like bases of operation, I assume.
Right.
Nobody really knows what. There's a guy named, if anybody's into Sea of Thieves lore, or content at all, Captain Falcor does a lot of really cool dives into like the little things that people miss, and he put out a video not too long ago of they finished the outpost, like fortifying it. There is a door you can't open, which is believed to be linked to something else, and then there is inky paw prints across a desk in front of a painting. That cat is tied to a character that has never been revealed, like a physical form has been revealed. He's only known as the Captain. A lot of people think it's Captain Hook, and it's possible because they not too long ago released 6 adventures set with Pirates of the Caribbean, so you can do basically a travel with Jack Sparrow across the seas.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that's not out of the question. That's not the conspiracy there, but like those footprints belong to a cat that appeared in a trailer not too long ago, tied to the captain. So they feel like a lot of the world is about to come together into this big explosive.
They're about to bring out all the lava.
Yeah. So like in the next season or two, like a lot of shit's about to change. They're talking about guilds might be coming to Sea of Thieves. Nobody knows what that might look like. Whether they're going to go the traditional MMO route of doing regular guilds, or if it's going to be some kind of like matchmaking system where if you want to build up one of your reps with one of the factions, you can jump on a crew that's doing that specific stuff, things like that. But it's one of those you were talking about conspiracies. Is like they do it really well. Where they're like, yes, it's a live service game. Yes, there's microtransactions. It's not pay to win, thankfully. But like that's how you do it. You drop these little things that are going to be. If you go looking for it, you're going to find.
Yeah, you keep these little tiny things hidden in plain sight. That if you're paying attention, you're going to notice.
Yeah. And one of the big mysteries right now is who killed DeMarco, and nobody fucking cares. There's a character known as the Pirate Lord. DeMarco was one of his kids. Nobody cares who kills him.
Who killed DeMarco? I don't know. What that cat do though?
His skeleton. Well, he might not even be dead either because there is a skeleton that is wearing his outfit on an island in the Sea of Thieves, and everybody's like, "Oh, DeMarco's dead." And there was an adventure that involved this like magic lantern that if you held it up, it would show hidden writing that from like the ghost world, and literally on the sand it was who killed DeMarco. But nobody cares. He might not even be dead. It's a surprisingly deep world, and I think that's why I get so immersed in it because A, I'm a huge Age of Sail pirate, right? So B, I love when games when the world feels alive. Like if you can like World of Warcraft, for instance,
right?
That world feels alive because as with each expansion, like a major world event happens,
right?
And like we had in Cataclysm, it like wiped out a huge
like
part of the map.
Lore is actually happening and changing, and it makes you feel like you're part of another world.
And they do these community challenges, like the Save Golden Sands part, that affected the game world we're in right now. That happened before I started playing, unfortunately, but the direct result of the community's actions saved Golden Sands and turned it into a fortified outpost. The recent one was whether or not to bring back Captain Flameheart, who was like the bad dude. And the community was like, yeah, no, we liked him, we want him back. So now he's coming back. Sure, that's not going to be bad in any way.
This could backfire.
We're at the end.
Okay. Well, we got like 3 minutes. I will end this with our next podcast is most likely going to be in 2 weeks. Yeah. Hopefully we don't got to cancel, but things happen. I'm pretty sure everybody understands. But I would like to end on what the next podcast is going to be, which is unpopular opinions. And I'm actually going to throw one in now because I wanted to talk about this but didn't get a chance to at the beginning. So this is something my wife did that I wasn't on board with at first. I thought it was weird and wrong. I was proven wrong. And I'm saying it because I don't think many people do it, so I call it an unpopular opinion. When you eat cake, some kind of cake,
yes,
no matter what kind, how do you do it? Like, do you just plate it and eat it?
Yes.
Or that's it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Something she got me on. You got to use a bowl. You can't use a plate for this. Slice cake in the bowl. Milk. I know what this sounds like.
I've done it.
You've done it?
Yeah,
it sounds like
I eat
soggy
that every now and again.
Okay. It sounds not good. I didn't think it would be good until I had it. It, especially with dry cake. Oh, dude, it changes the game. The icing becomes so much smoother from mixing with the milk. Dry cake is no longer dry, obviously, so it helps break that apart and helps mush it.
Press an X to doubt.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie.
like
It's almost like I'd say the cake damn near becomes like eating cereal.
It's not that much different if you have cake and ice cream. You have the ice cream melts
Yep.
Yeah,
and it
that's
soaks
fair.
in.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
You're basically just skipping the step of letting the ice cream melt. But I was not on board with it the first time I saw her do it and just flood the cake. I was like, why are you doing
Why did
that?
I marry you?
And then I tried it and I'm like, no. My wife's right. She knows. She knew something I didn't.
All right.
So props to that. Everybody who listened to the end, try that and comment cake in the comments.
Comment cake.
Comment cake if you made it this far. We'll know you're a real one. Magical leaf.
Look at that. Look at the.
I see them. I see the eyes.
All
I see
right.
it's 4 out of 20 PP too.
Well, thank you for watching.
We will see you all
when we
next
talk
time.
About nothing.
Yeah. Later.
For real though, Sea of Thieves has like